All right, welcome everyone. This is a Viper Professional Training and Support webinar. Today's date is June 29th, 2019, and the title of today's webinar is 3 Simple Trade Setups. And as everyone knows has been to our webinars or our live trading room, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, Forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk. Therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar. Other webinars we have, our live trading room or anything else with Viper Trading Systems, should never be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Warren says, you are now at my age. Is that supposed to be, I guess that's an honor, right, Warren? Thanks, everyone. Had a great birthday. Going to go have some lunch and everything with my son and spend a little bit of time with him this afternoon. Spent time with Linda all day yesterday on my birthday. Technically, it wasn't my birthday yesterday, but we had a lot of fun. All right, let's go ahead and get off the standard disclaimer. First off, the trade setups that we're going to talk about today, there's actually a few others that I really like, and I think anybody that's in the Viper room knows that we like certain other trades also. But today we're going to talk about 3 simple trade setups that will get you well on your way to profitability, and also if you happen to be in one of the evaluation accounts with One-Up Trader or Top Step Trader to get you funded. Okay. And what I'm going to show you right now, you can clearly see, I want to show this video. I don't know if everybody knows about this video. If you go to your member login, now people that are here on trial, you don't have access to this just yet, not being a member. And we're not really going to put this on the webinar link. Okay, this is a little bit more of the training that we teach our people. But anyway, down here, there is a webinar, and actually it's not even a webinar, it's a 17, 18-minute video. And this will walk you exactly through how to do a phantom trade. But I'm going to go through it quite a bit today. We're going to basically concentrate on 3 trade type setups. Okay, and when you should take them and when there'll be trend changes, for instance. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. First off, I'm going to just show you a chart with no prices on it or anything. That way nobody gets confused with looking at prices or anything like that. Okay, we're going to simply talk about, first off, we're going to talk about mid-band trades. Mid-band trades, phantom trades, and minimum criteria, you want to be extra cautious. Minimum criteria, you want to really basically take a trade like that when there's been a good ratchet up or ratchet down. Okay, so we're going to go over all of that today. Bear with me one second. Lewis said something. Well, thank you, Lewis. Thank you very much. Lewis is saying a happy birthday to a great man, one of the nicest persons ever had the pleasure to speak with. Well, thank you, Lewis. I appreciate that. I don't want to ring my own bell in any way on something like that, obviously, but I do try to make sure that everybody's taken care of on support and different things with Viper Trading Systems. Okay, because our whole goal, and I think people have been proved time and time again, we're not just one of those vendors. I went with a vendor years ago and spent like $5,000 with them, got a webinar here and there, very poor support, didn't really, understand their product as much as I wanted to, and basically, gave away a bunch of money trading it. And we're not that way. We're going to make sure, for one thing, trade and sim anybody until you are totally, absolutely profitable in sim. That's what evaluation accounts are for. Trading combines with Top Step, evaluation accounts with One-Up, and even your own sim account if you don't want to go with somebody else. But always make sure that you're profitable, in your trading and making the right decisions. Because believe me, trading, can be a stressful thing. It can be a very slow, almost obnoxious to the point of like, when are you going to finally move? And then they move like a house afire. Okay, so we've all got to be ready for all of that. But what we are at Viper Trading Systems, we are retrace traders. We believe in getting into the trade that's after a thrust. Okay, now if you're going to chase a thrust, you've got to at least wait for a little, well, like a minimum criteria or at least a box in type trade. Okay, that's one of the other trades that we'll talk about in another webinar. But today we're going to talk about strictly these three trade setups: mid-band trades in detail, phantom trades in detail, and minimum criteria. Okay, now when we talk about a mid-band trade, by the way, we're talking about this mid-band right here that's a little thicker than these other lines. You know, basically in the power trend, I don't know if everybody knows this or not, but the power trend consists of even a bunch of lines and everything. Okay, and we're going to make this available, by the way. This is the new version of power trend. You're going to be able to change the mid-band to any color you want now. Okay, and I think that'll help out because we've got quite a few people that have been with us that can't really see greens and reds very well. And by the way, Charles is even one of those. He's got a little bit of color blindness, not a great amount because he can see the changes in shades and stuff, but he can't see the actual true reds and greens. And there's a lot of people in this world that have color blindness like that. So, rather than having reds and greens, we're going to let you choose. Okay, so you'll be able to set up your mid-band any way you want it. And your other lines you'll be able to also set up any way you want it. These are down here. You can just simply, you can turn them on or do like I do and just have the shadows and only line 2 and line 6 turned on. And see, I've got those on red and green. Okay. All right. Just to show you real quick though, let's say that you wanted to change this to, like a cyan or something like that. All you got to do is look at the particular color that it's making and simply change it. Like if I wanted to do that in cyan, I'd just do it like that and apply it, and then you'll see the mid-bands in cyan. See there? So that's going to be kind of nice because there are some people, like I say, that want different colors. You may even want a darker background or something like that. So we're going to make this available. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and change that back to our normal template for today. Let's see, I've heard of True Trend not used anymore. Can it compare to Power Trend? Well, now True Trend, basically, George, on your question, we're not going to talk about True Trend today, but we are going to talk about, mid-band trades and things like that. I will talk about True Trend on Monday if you want. Let's go ahead and go back to this. I want to show you how you can clearly see how to get in some of these trades. And I want to do it without price at first because I want you to see how good this can be. Okay, so we've got our boxes drawn, right? Let me change that just a little bit. I don't like that color background right there. This way it'll be like ours is. 60, 60, 20, and 20, I believe is what it is. We'll get started here just a second. Well, that's what we'll talk about today too, Aspen. That's very good. You're new with us, so you're going to basically be learning things in kind of segments, so to speak. So just keep up with what we're going to talk about today. This basically today we're going to talk about right here are 3 trades that if you memorize, you learn these and you build them into your muscle memory and you watch for them, you're going to make money trading. Okay. But you have to go by the rules that are actually taught. In other words, when we look for a mid-band trade, we're not just looking for a mid-band trade just because this is lime green or blue. We're looking for the mid-band trade because it goes from one trend to the next. So in other words, you're getting that thrust, that retrace, that thrust, that retrace. That's what you're looking for on that. Okay. Now, when they're starting to go sideways, see, for instance, right here, you can clearly see this is stair-stepping up, stair-stepping up. When they start going sideways for very long, now that's not very long right there. But when they start going sideways for a long time, and they usually do it after about 3 thrusts, you'll kind of see very possibly right here, see this is sideways for a little bit longer, and then they finally change trends. And then you're looking for the other type of mid-band trade. Now let me show you real quick why we developed the alerts to get you into some of these trades like this. Let's just go over this last one right here. This is fine. See if we can get to it. All right, let's turn on our little alert. Now, what I want you to see how these alerts will kick in. Now, this is actual bars that are flashing, that are bars that triggered this alert. But does that mean that I just fire the trade instantaneously? You know, right here, for instance. Now, when I get down like close to mid-band, I do want to fire those trades. Okay? When I get in this little sweet spot right here, I like to kind of get into these trades pretty quick. Charles does too. Okay? Because you can always get out of it if you're wrong. But for instance, if you box this in something like this right here, okay, now if you do a 1, 2, 3 reversal, you're going to do a down, a down bar, an up bar, and then if it breaks the down bar to the upside, you can actually, go with the trade. You don't have to wait for it to break this one here. Okay. Now you can, but keep in mind if you box it that much, like that whole area, then obviously, you might not get a good enough trade because all they're trying to shoot for is these resistance areas at the time. Okay. Let's see if this one triggered down here. On my actual chart that I trade in the morning, this did trigger, by the way. But keep in mind that when you're doing market replay, you're not necessarily getting the exact price that you got to begin with. There's a little difference in it. So it's nothing to be worried about. But I can tell you this, that more than likely when this thrust up like this was probably a mid-band trade. I mean, you can just live for these things, actually. Okay. And we'll look at the chart here in just a second and see. But let's say that we took a trade. Let's see, is that my arrow line? Let's say we took a trade. Why is that not? Okay, say we took a trade here. We took a trade, here. We took a trade here. All right, let's just see if those actually worked. Okay, now keep in mind these can also go deeper, and you've got to kind of, box in and everything, because that's the whole idea of boxing in to begin with, is that you get these great trades that, break out and go, break out and go, break out and go, right? But sometimes they may come deeper. They may come into this area here, and we'll talk about this trade here in a few minutes. That's right in here, this little sweet spot. This is called a phantom trade. Okay, and we're going to go into detail of what those are. But let's just see by looking at the actual one. We've got these arrows drawn here, and let's just see if we could have gotten decent trades on this. I'm going to go ahead and load the regular template, and we'll see if those boxes hold some decent trades. Now keep in mind we reboxed also. There we go. See, there's a trade. There's a trade. There's a trade down here. Okay, that actually worked. Okay. So see how those mid-band type trades will work? You go from one trend to the next, in other words, long to short. Your first thrust out to mid-band area is about an 85% probability trade. The second one, if they really ratchet up nicely, like see this took out this swing here by a bunch. So that's another good one. Okay, this one took this one out by very little. See, maybe 15 ticks or so, 12 ticks, something like that. So you got to be more careful, because a lot of times they're trying to go by basically what I teach as identified swings. This is an identified swing, high, low, higher, high. So this is your identified swing. Okay, if they barely take out these tops, now this one's taken out pretty good, so I still look for this trade. But how many times do you get into this one? Let's say that you get in your trading, pretend these bars aren't here at all, and you barely break this. Then they're going to take this out, and they're going to probably come down and do a phantom, or they may even change trends. Okay, but our go-to trade is definitely this mid-band type trade when you get these trend changes. Okay, boxing in, they can absolutely be great trades. Let's go ahead and turn on the little flashers to see them. See, this one technically should be flashing, but I know why it's not. The way this particular indicator works is it has to close inside line 5 to line 4. Okay, that one you notice that it closed right above line 5. But in real, I'm not sure if this little trade, see how this one's almost right on line 5? That one was actually flashing on my actual chart. So maybe that just missed that by whatever, when it's loaded with historical data. Because remember, market replay is a little different. If you turn your chart on yesterday, or actually this was the 27th, that was Thursday, that little bar probably right there should flash. Okay, so that's how you can box this in. You use your little bar, and a lot of times when they bounce out of that predictor or out of that line 5 area, you take the trade. Okay, and that is a mid-band trade, by the way. That's a very, very good mid-band trade. What in the world did I do? Go back over here to the 27th. See, it went from short to long. Yeah, here we are. All right. See how you go from one criteria? Now keep in mind when you look at this overall trend, your huge trend, this is a big uptrend, right? And they barely checked support, but this is a major downtrend on this side over here. See it right here? And we look at 4 trends to trade. But the way we've designed our indicators and everything is when you go from one extreme to the next, you're looking for these mid-band type trades. Now this one right here, let's see this one right here. This one right here, if you would have taken this one, let's go over how you would take this trade in real time, okay? Because you can clearly see that this one probably gave a scalp and that was about it. Okay, let's see if we can get the flashing bar. Okay, we got our flashing bar. So basically we box it in, right? We box it in again. We could be down here even if you wanted to be. Something like that even through there, for instance, with that little wick. And then you actually got your long. If they go back in that box, like they did right there, you can take those puppies off the table. Now, if you put your stop, let's say that you just took this and you, well, if you waited for a bar to close, you didn't even get a scalp. But let's say, for instance, that you took this trade as close when it hit that second support, you saw the mid-band or whatever, and you took it. Maybe you got a scalp, maybe you didn't, but you definitely got stopped out when it went back in that box, in my opinion. Because a lot of times you'll get something like this, where they'll do a high, a low, a lower high, and they'll get a lower low before they actually, either take off or break down. Okay? You see how that one, you could have boxed in and gotten another little scalp as far as that goes. All right, let's go back over here. Here's a phantom, by the way. We'll talk about that one in a minute, though. Let's go back over here to the trade we were at. Everybody see what we're talking about? What I'm talking about here? These mid-band type trades are go-to trades that you're going to really, really like. They're going to do a really good job for you. Now, if you happen to walk into your trading room and this thing's like already busted up, like let's say that it's 807 and you missed this down here, you can actually wait for a pullback into as near stealth as you can get and take a shot at a trade, but you always got to be careful. We're not going to talk about that today. Minimum criteria will be the least trade that we'd probably take. There's one that touched stealth right there. This is a really sloped indicator that only changes this color to this certain color when it's got a certain oomph to it. Okay, this is why you get these gaps in it, is because we've designed our algorithm to actually, just basically it's looking at doing that color by, how fast it's moving and how slopey it is. Okay. All right. So let's see if we got any questions on this real quick. Above guess when you have a chance. Thanks, Gary. Just a second, Lewis. Steve asked a question, when do you enter a box trade? Well, we teach box trades, every single day in our, not only in our trading room, but in our webinars and everything. So your box trades are really, really good trades. Now you can look at fib numbers and things like that if you want to. It's up to the individual, what they want to do on that. I don't see with, like 4-range bars too often that's as smart of a way to do it, except for the larger runs, and I do look at fibs then. I do like to look at this look too. Let's say that you had a break and they come back and kiss an area. See how this is a thrust, a little pullback, and then breaks up like a ABC. They'll come back and they'll check these areas. So a lot of our people, for instance, if they would have been watching this, and let's say that they had done a phantom up here, and we'll talk about a phantom in just a second, but let's say that it broke up instead, you'll notice that it'll come back and kiss it. And actually, if I would have put down 4 trade setups that I like, that's my go-to trade also, is a kiss trade. A kiss trade will usually end up being a support kiss or a mid-band to begin with, but that's still, to me, a kiss trade. They break a level, they come back and kiss it. Do they break a level again, come back and kiss it? Well, sometimes they don't even come back and kiss it for a while, but they will. You can usually count on it. Okay. Now, get in the habit also of making sure that you don't just try to go for the gusto on every single trade, because the people that are making the real money trading are actually getting into trades and getting, $200 here, $300 here. If it runs, it runs. But, you've also got to be willing to get out of a trade. Clearly showed one just a few minutes ago that didn't work out, and you might have gotten a scalp only. But money's money. If you get green on your P&L, that's not a bad way to be. Okay. Anybody have any questions on this? Is the long trade on your mid-band trade. And you're going to get in the habit, obviously, of, looking for this type of trade after a trend change first. Now, if you come in and you've seen something run, 90, 100 ticks or something like that, you're going to have to be a little bit more cautious, because they may have already, run out of steam. Just to give you an example, let's say by looking at what we've got right here, notice that you had a high, a low, a lower high. You've got support down here. You got support down here. And if they take that out, they're very liable to change trends on you. And then you're looking for a different mid-band type trade. Okay, if they break that, see how they broke that? But look at that trade right there. Minimum, or not minimum, but mid-band trade. Decent little trade, right? But if it goes back in your box, what do? You get out. Let's see if it does. All right, so let's say that you got in something like, kind of like right through there, maybe that bar. Put your stop there, and they come back in your box, don't they? They came down, they came back in your box. Is this time to go long? Anybody? No. This is just a deeper, very possibly a deeper type of a trade. So you'd box it in again. Move your box. Something like that. Move it again up here. And if they happen to break it, you're in. You got your stop in right there. They wicked it. They didn't take you out. And it looks like you got your little trade. Okay, so keep in mind when they change directions, you're going to want to be looking for the opposite way. Now, does this turn out that this is probably still an uptrend? More than likely, by looking at it, it looks like they just checked where we said they didn't check before. See there? Remember, I was talking about that a minute ago, how they'll check those. See how they thrust up and they check that one? They thrust up, did they check that one? But watch later on, I'll draw the line and we'll even change the color of it so that you'll see that it actually did touch it. We'll change it to that color just for the fun of it. See there? They will check them. And that's a lot of times where, you got to make the decision. Do you really want to be short, or do you want to actually fire a long from down there? But keep in mind that with these color changes here, this still worked out too. Okay, we boxed this in and you got a great little trade right there. Okay, you want to see if it'll work again? Let's see. Mid-band trade. We think. Got to make your decision quick. In, okay, in. We'll just say we took 28. How's that? And we got a 10-tick trade, looks like to me. Yeah, definitely. Okay, and then what do? Well, you can actually get out of the trade if they break a little swing even. For instance, if they don't take this out, just put your stop like line 2, like so, and they took you out. Okay? And that's absolutely the way you do it right there. Let's go ahead and go and talk about like a phantom trade. Now, this is not a phantom trade here. Phantom trade on a short, you have to get between line 6 and line 7. And this one did not. Okay, now this one did go below line 2, but you noticed that you changed your background and you never got that trade long. Although you could have still boxed it and took that long while somebody else is getting ready to short the retrace. Okay, let's see just 1 second. Lucia asking, is it too early to ask, but do you greatly emphasize on stop loss risk, Aspen? Well, absolutely. The whole thing is, if you actually lose a bunch on a trade that goes against you, you're going to be playing the catch-up game. And I like catch-up, but only on fries. I don't like catching up on trades. And we all get them. I mean, even as good as we are at calling and drawing and everything else, you think we don't get an occasional bad trade that actually just gets us quickly? They do it. They absolutely will. I got one on gold the other morning, and I mean, they slapped my stop like it wasn't even there. And it wasn't even a news event. It just happened that they moved the market. What's the percentage of success on a phantom trade, Phil? If it's by the rules, you're above 80 for at least a scalp. Now, when I talk about at least a scalp, and keep in mind that's boxing it in too. Now, this right here, let's just say that you were looking at this right here and you saw that they hadn't checked this, because like I say, they check most every swing. See your thrust, retrace, they check that swing. Thrust, retrace, they check it, they thrust again, they check it again. They thrust up, they check that one. See, but barely. But if they don't thrust up quite a bit and pull back, then you can count that as not really checked. It just checked it for the time being. But later on, they check it again. And they do that a lot. Okay? So could you have boxed this in the way we teach and everything and very possibly gotten a long trade right here? If I remember right, this was a trade that I talked about in the room on Thursday that I said that, remember, if it broke that phantom, but you boxed it in, you could probably still take the long, and it did turn out that it worked. Okay, keep in mind, any trade is a good trade, but we're not going to talk about this trade today as much, because to me, if everybody would get in the habit of, trusting the indicators and getting these great mid-band trades, even if they go deeper, great mid-band trades, and great mid-band trade and great mid-band type trades, you'll make money. Because I don't care if like, say somebody went long here and got 20 ticks, you went short up here and got 20 ticks the other way. So it worked both ways. But which way was the safest way? Well, at the time, actually, this was a magenta midband, so this was a short background, and this was your safer trade. Okay, because they had broken, they were going high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high. They could have gone lower low. Okay, and if they didn't, then of course they could change the other way. Let's see, my question above concerning object trader alerts, Lewis. I know the market can be unpredictable. How do you know exactly what to put on object trader without leaving something out? Although I pretty much know. Don't want to leave any stone unturned. You're talking about how to actually trade it with the boxes, you mean? To trade the boxes? Well, you can actually make a box as tight as you want to. Just keep in mind that, however you do that box, you want, to not let the trade go against you. I mean, let's say, for instance, that you're in the habit of jumping in with just 2 contracts. A 15-tick stop will cost you $300. You get 2 of those in a row, and you're going to be chasing $600 back. You get 3 in a row, and you're going to be chasing 9. So, to me, I just like the idea of, getting out and getting back in. Now, at the open of the market, you can give it a little bit more wiggle room right off the bat, looking at your swings. But when they do these retraces, like in the mid bands and things like that, they're going to do quite a bit of faking, but they will usually give a scalp. Okay. So for instance, if you box this through here, say I drew this box right here, could you have actually gotten, you had an up candle, a down candle, it breaks the little box. You could also put it like this, where it has to actually break the 3rd candle back. But at the time, where's your stop? Well, if you use the stop that's above the box, you're going to be taking a chance of at least 10 ticks or more. Okay. This one happened to work out to begin with. Let's say that you got, if you would have done it here, that bar went in, that bar went down. So you would have been in on that bar. So that did give you some heat. Okay. But what if you just did it where you box it in, and if it goes back in the box, you just get out and box it again? That can work quite well, actually. Okay. And like I said, keep in mind that, scalping is practically most of the trading that's done out there is pretty much scalping. You're getting some, quick coin. How many times does the market run in a complete trend? Where it just literally just going like a house of fire? Very, very seldom. It's usually pretty much this type of stuff, where you get a nice thrust, you pull back. You get a nice thrust, you pull back. You get a nice thrust, they don't take out the top. Anytime they don't take out this top over here to the left, like with a lower high, they're more than likely going to change trends, but you don't know that at the time it's doing. You see what I'm getting at? In other words, this is stair stepping up right here. See it? If you got in down here in this box and it's stair stepping up and they make a lower high, you don't know that until they take out that swing right there. And that's pretty much when you know that they're actually, heading down instead of up. But you're just taking your money off is what you're doing. For instance, if you got in down here, I like to actually watch it do the little lightning. You can draw the lightning too. Lightning 1 is right here. Let me draw it. Maybe that box that's in the way. Why is my lightning 1 not drawing? I'm not sure why my lightning 1's not drawing. I may have paused this too long. It may have done something to it. But anyway, you can clearly see it. It's thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace, thrust. And if they take out the swing, they're stair stepping back down. Now, this is a good little trade, by the way, if you want to get in the habit of trying to take it, that you could still put tight stops and go short when they start stair stepping back down with a lower high. But we're not going to talk about that today as much. We're going to talk about these trades right here. 3 trade setups that if you'll learn them, that, Charles makes a living off of this. Matter of fact, he doesn't even like this trade right here, the phantom trade. And he doesn't totally like minimum criteria, but he will get into them. But as far as what he teaches in every webinar I've ever gone to is that trade right there. And that trade right there will make you money, but you have to trade it the way the trade sets up, and you have to do it based on, what is happening in real time. Like on this one, we know after the fact, obviously, that you can't trade after the fact. But see how this is doing this little like that. When did it start stair-stepping back up? Right there. Let's turn this off for just a second and see if that's pretty much where that did the white one. No, but I would have still boxed it down here. You can draw trend lines too, obviously, right? Okay, but you know, you would be boxing in. Let's go over this trade real quick because this was a good one that came down a little bit deeper. Let's go ahead and take these boxes off. Let's say that you had said, okay, if this comes down this little area right here, I'm going to be ready for a long. You're watching this in real time. And then they go deeper instead. So just keep dragging your box. Drag your box. Drag your box. And pretty soon you'll be long. Okay? Now, if you got a nice tight box like this, you can use this stop right here. But, you know, if you're not sure of a trade, like it's going deeper than you want it to or something, just jump in with one instead, and you won't be chasing yourself to cover, you know, 3 contracts that actually barely go above a box and then zap it and take it down. Okay? And also, you could clearly see, you know, as this was doing this, you could kind of see this trend line too. Well, this drawing tool on Ninja is not working as well as it should. But see, that trend line break is also a good area. Like that. Because mid-band trades, like we always talk about, they're very profitable. You know, when we were calling the trades out on Russell on Friday, to give an example, remember how those mid-band trades work so beautifully? You know, just get in the habit. If you think about this, if you did 2 contracts of oil here and got this trade and got out of it when it started breaking that little white bar right there, or even this one, at least line 6, you made some pretty sweet money. If you got in down here and you just stair-stepped it, stair-stepped it, stair-stepped it, is this stair-stepping up? When is it not stair-stepping up? Double tops, takes that out, you take out line 6, you're out. So how about that kind of a trade? And you could have stayed in it the whole time too. Okay, let's see if we can get our lightning to draw. For some reason, lightning's not drawing. Why are you not drawing, lightning? Probably because we got the thing paused. Let's start it up again. Let's see if lightning will draw. Yeah, there we go. It's got to have a bar close. All right, so let's look at the lightning on this one, for instance. All right, let's look at lightning 1. All right, see how this was stair-stepping down, stair-stepping down. Even on 1, by the way, you know, when that kind of came back above that mid-band, that was pretty much heading up, right? Or this little box, right? And your trend line break. Okay? What about this trade right here? You know, you're doing the lightning dance. Where's your lightning? Even if you do it with lightning, your lightning's right across there, so you're looking for a long. Now you bring it down here. You're looking for a long, right? And you never got it. Okay? See how that works? That's what will happen a lot of times. And by the way, then if it does change trends, see how that changed trends? We got our red background, and we got our magenta mid-band. Okay? Now, could you have shorted this? Obviously, if it took out support, the answer to that is absolutely yes. And you could have even done it through here because you saw it starting to break down and it got that lower high. But, you know, we're not going to talk about that as much today. You could use true trend on that, by the way, and get that trade. What I normally do if I use true trend on against a trend that's going like this, you know, because this was heading up at the time, but true trend would have turned the background red here, and then I usually will box it with the lightning itself, something like that, because I don't just get in it when it just goes through that, because it could easily go through that, test that swing, and take off like a bullet. Okay, you don't know it's stair-stepping down until you get a high, a low, a lower high, and then you break and get that lower low. And then you could have actually shorted that, yes. Okay? Anybody have any question on mid-band trades so far? Because mid-band trades will definitely make a world of difference in your trading. Let's just see if mid-band trades worked again. Here's an example right here. You had a overnight, everything went from long to short. You had mid-band trades through here. You have mid-band trade here. You have mid-band trades here. And then that looks like the end of it right there. Okay, you want to see if we can do it going forward? What do y'all think? What says the team? Anybody get up at 4 o'clock in the morning? That's on the 28th. That was on Friday. So y'all want to try to get some of that? Or do I have any questions to answer? That's like 4:20 in the morning on 6/28. Anybody get up that early to trade? I don't at all. But if you do, that's not a bad time to trade, by the way. Let's see if we can get something. Let's diagnose it first off, okay? Let's diagnose the chart. I think I traded this on Friday morning, as a matter of fact. All right, let's look at our chart. I'm going to get rid of the alerts. We had nice mid-band trade. Okay, if you did this, candle up, candle down, you get in the trade like when it breaks that candle. You don't have to wait for it to close if you don't want to. You can pretty much box it like this. And then when that bar closes, it's pretty much, you're getting that candle down, in other words. Or you can do it where it breaks and you have to do a 1, 2, 3, and it's going to get in right there. And you probably still got 10 ticks. Okay, and if you keep the rule in mind, if they don't take out the lows, what's the rule? If you were looking at this in real time and you put in a box and they did this and then they went back in your box, okay, are you going long yet? No, but you're also not taking out lows, so what's it going to do next? Well, it's going to go higher. And if you draw on your charts, you'll probably see about where it's going. You got swings like right through there, to give an example, that it could easily test. See where the swing was, where it broke down. And you just wait and box it in again. Okay, there's a little box again right there. Does it work? Maybe, maybe not. Doesn't look like that one would have worked. It might have gotten you a little bit of green, but not much. But what's the rule if it doesn't take out the bottom? Is this a good yellow bar probe mid-band trade here? And the answer is no. Anytime you don't take out these lows, when you're doing mid-bands, you want to thrust a retrace to do a mid-band type trade, and you want to take out the lows before you do another one. Okay, or you want it to ratchet higher, and usually that will be to the previous swing, like thrust, retrace, thrust. That's up in here, and you'll probably get that trade. This would have been decent, boxing it in. There it is right there. See? All right, now what is this doing now, though? Anybody? This is actually more than likely a trend change, because what did it do? It actually took out the swing over here. And we've got an algorithm built into this, by the way, that will tell you when there's a potential trend change. You have to have a low lightning 3, a high lightning 3, another low lightning 3, and then break. This didn't do that. So now you do high lightning 3, low lightning 3, that is lightning 3, and it breaks right here. So this is actually more than likely a trend change. Could you take it as such? Well, if you did, of course, that's also a phantom. Let's just see if we can get something here. It is kissing right where it broke out. I'd like for it to kiss right there myself, and I would probably do that. If then I put my stop nice and tight at mid-band, because I don't want it to go past that support right there. See there? Now, that was a risky trade, but that's also a trade I see 1,000 times looking at charts, and I'd probably even protect my coin right here now, which would be exit on close. That way I'm only risking like 4 ticks. Okay, but let's do a mid-band trade instead again. Let's see if we can get a mid-band trade or a type of trade that will get everybody excited. Let's take this off. We don't care about that. All right. Remember, we're thrust traders and retrace traders. See, that thrust up and that retraced right into support. Okay? See where that support is right there? That came close enough to it that I see this all the time, and so I would probably jump into that. Now, if you were up at 430, you should have shorted this trade. Okay? But still, the rule, let's say that you shorted. This is a phantom trade. This is a true phantom trade. You'll even see it light up the little indicator. See it turn, it'll turn red. See it right there? So that's a true phantom trade. But what's our little rule that we have? Well, what if you actually got in this trade right here, okay, and you're in, and then they decide to go back inside that box like that? Could you keep your stop right here? Well, if you got in right here, you're going to be risking about 5 or 6, 7 ticks, so that's still going to cost you some coin. You could always flip it if it breaks, but keep in mind when you flip it, usually, let's see what it does. Usually, well, we don't even know because we're at our data. But usually if you flip it, they're going to pull back anyway. See how if you took this flip and went above the box, they'll pull back into it anyway. So the best thing is not to flip a trade. The only time you really want to flip a trade is, when they move so quickly that you can clearly see they're retracing and you can get a trade like that. But flipping trades is not a smart idea. All right, we talked about mid-bands. Everybody understand a mid-band trade? A mid-band trade is absolutely after a trend change, first time in, and you're looking for this little sweet spot. A short mid-band trade, you're really looking at or above mid-band. That's your better one. Now, this one didn't turn out to be any more than a scalp, but this is usually your better one. This was overnight too. Predictor type trades, we'll talk about those on like Monday night instead. But this is definitely a mid-band trade right there. Did it work for a scalp? Yes. Did it then go right back in your box? Yes. Could you have gotten out of the trade then? Yes. So, if you were thinking at the time, let's say that you were looking at this at 1:44 in the morning, you said, you know what, that's a mid-band trade. I've been taught that. I'm just going to go for the gold and it's going to take out these swings and I'm going to be a happy camper. They don't all do that. But usually as a rule, if you go by the rules that we have and take a trade and get a little scalp and then don't let it go back against you, they're usually pretty good. Okay? Or if you happen to do two here, and let's say that you got a $100 bill and you let the entire other 100 disappear as it goes back to your cost. You could do that even. But keep in mind that you could also just simply, do the trade here, take some coin when you get your nice scalp, and if they don't take out lows from before and they do like a 1, 2, 3 reversal bar, or they take out line 2, you can take it off the table. You don't have to let it go all the way back in the box. Okay, that's a legitimate, definitely a trade that I would take because it's a legitimate mid-band trade. But do they all work out? No. But they usually will work out at least for a scalp. Okay, let's see where we're at. We've got some data. I'm going to see if everybody can basically pick the next trade. What do y'all think? You got a green background now. What are you looking for? Well, you're getting a kiss, by the way. I wish I was teaching kisses today, because that's a kiss trade to me. And if it went above that line, I would probably buy it like that. See how it kissed? We'll just go over a little bit of kiss trade, but I would put a nice tight stop just in case. Okay? But that is a little kiss trade. It did thrust up and it did pull back into support. Okay, but let's talk about mid-band trades again. See if we can get one. Is that a mid-band trade? Anybody? It's going into line 5. this is the area that we have this algorithm turn on. Now, if this doesn't close in line 5, this will not trigger this mid-band short or mid-band long. Let's see if it does trigger it. I don't remember if it has to touch inside it or I think it has to close inside line 5. But I could also tell you this, that I see a high, a low, a higher high. So this is support. So I would probably box this right here. You want to see if we can get anything on that one? We'll box it. We'll pull our box nice and tight for a 1, 2, 3 reversal. There's even resistance right there. See your lightning like that. Thrust, retrace, thrust. You could even put it just above that wick right there. And I would bring my box down if this candle closes down. If it closes up, we'll leave it like it is. Remember, mid-band is an area. Your best ones are after a trend change, first time in the mid-band or in this little sweet spot. And see, it did hit the little sweet spot. I usually like to touch that, by the way. Hopefully I got that. Here we go. And then I would tighten my stop right there. Okay? That is a true, legitimate mid-band trade. What if they don't pop this up and they take this swing out? Well, I've got a pretty tight stop on it right now, 9 ticks. That's fairly tight. And more than likely, what I would do here is turn this back on, and if this gets a higher low, I'd probably add one. But if it takes me out, it takes me out too. I don't care. Because the whole idea of trading is you've got to diagnose the charts in real time. And this is, well, technically it's real time because, you know, Friday was, you know, yesterday. I don't remember everything that went on yesterday. I know I did trade some of this yesterday. I'm pretty sure I actually got long right up in this area here, if I remember right. But I got up just about 5. So I think it was this trade right here that I got. Because this is, yeah, I wasn't up. That was 4:50. I wasn't up. I'm never up that early. I get up no earlier than 5 a.m. So is this little trade a legitimate, you know, mid-band type trade? And the answer is yes. See there? And it also kissed a predictor, by the way. Now, predictors are pretty good at this thrust retrace movement and, you know, getting you into trades. The reason we turn them into ellipses instead of like rectangles or something like that is simply because it's an area. You know, it's an area of it. You know, you don't know if it's going to come down to here, but you can also look to the left to trade the right, and you have to see your swings too. Okay. Now that turned out to be a decent little trade. Now what you'd want to do in a case like this, see we're in 3 total and we're good to go. And I'd probably bring my stop a little bit higher now. And what I like to do personally a lot of days is I'll bring sniper in, turn on sniper, and if it happens to close like below that line, take some off. You know, because we don't know for sure if this is going to get a high, low, lower high, and then take this out. So we could still protect some of our coin. Well, not with our costs there, we couldn't, but we wouldn't lose very much. Okay, so I took almost the entire hour to talk about mid-band trades. You know, again, that's Charles and my favorite trade, but we're going to go ahead and take just a little bit to talk about the phantom trade. Okay, that turned out to be a good trade, by the way. I did trade that on Friday. Now, let me ask a quick question. Everybody wants to know also about stops and everything, right? Okay, the smartest way to do this type of trade, see, this is hitting its head a little bit right here at this double top, but it took it out a little bit. See there? Took it out a little bit. So I would simply bring my stop more underneath where they did that. Okay, and they may get you, and that's fine. You know, could this go up higher? It could easily go up a lot higher, but it may be through too. Okay, see how I got out at a proper timing and everything? Okay, let's talk about a phantom trade. You want to talk about a phantom trade real quick? A phantom trade is first time in after a trend change into a long one, that is in this little sweet spot right here. And I like to kind of do it more like this. I love it when it hits line 1. I'll take it if it hits line 2. Okay, because you can kind of box it like I'm doing right here, and pretty much if they close above this line 2, they're going to more than likely come up at least to mid-band. Okay, let's see if we can get a phantom. I don't know if we got a phantom. We'll just fast forward until it does. Let's see if it comes into our little sweet spot. By the way, that's another good long trade. Anybody see it? Anybody see that? It's coming down and it's testing. I always look for kisses too. See that? That's a kiss trade. Look to the left to trade the right. They break up, they come back and kiss. We should have made that the 4th trade and turned this into a 4-trade seminar, actually, I think. But everybody see that? Just draw your swings on your charts. Draw them with lightning even if you want to. It can definitely be a good way to do it, because if you didn't get this trade right here, then you missed it. Okay? But let's talk about the phantom real quick. Let's see if we can get a phantom. It may have taken a while to get it, but it usually does. We'll let it go in 500 times for a while and see if we can get a phantom. Now keep in mind that we would have taken this trade right here, see how it hit that predictor. That's another good area, by the way. I'd probably just buy that puppy. See it? Came down. That was a higher low. I think I called that trade in the room on Friday too. That was an oil trade. All right, here we go. Here we go. What do y'all think? Is this a phantom trade right here? See if we can just get mid-band only. Wait for that bar to close. Come on, close. Tighten my stop. Exit on close. And see if we can get those. It's only 8 ticks, but that's mid-band. Didn't quite get it. Got taken out instead. That was not 10 ticks. Okay? So we did not get that trade. It came, so close to mid-band, but we didn't get it. And I was going pretty fast anyway. Now what's it doing now? Anybody? Well, to me, it's changing trends. So what are you looking for? Mid-band trade? All right. Now keep in mind, there's one mid-band trade that will not print on this chart if we stay yellow. That's a mid-band trade, by the way. But it will not print because of that yellow right there. And we don't want it to print really, because you really want the background and everything to change. So let's look for a legitimate. And we'll also look for a phantom trade on it too. Does anybody not understand phantoms, by the way? See if we can get a mid-band trade. And I want y'all to tell me when you see a mid-band trade. Is one starting to set up? Anybody? Well, you already missed it if you didn't take that little bar rollover. You'd probably want to take it right about there, I would think. But let's see if we get a mid-band trade flashing. May just break down, but we'll see. I also like to get mid-band trades too if you get a high, a low, and a higher high, like an ABC. Flashing mid-band. It's not flashing yet. We do have that where it has to close. See the longs above, from 5 to 4, and this, there we go. There's a mid-band trade. Now, how do you take this trade? Anybody? I'm gonna stop this for just a second so that we can all see how we take this particular trade. Okay, you're getting several signs telling you to take this trade. Everybody see them? Your bars are flashing. Your predictor's there. And by the way, they're not going to change trends. You can take this to the bank also. They don't usually change trends until they take out these predictors. Notice when this changed trends and the green predictor showed up, notice that you didn't change trends until they took it out. Now you don't just short it then, but you'll notice that if they take those out, they'll usually be changing trends. It's the same way over here. If they don't take this out, they're not changing trends. So that's another little, not a secret, but the way we've done this for years is watch these areas like this. Okay, we got to swing right across here. And this is the little sweet spot that I'd be looking to short. This is a mid-band trade. And we'll do a touch plus 2, like I always like. See if we get it. And if it goes higher, we'll rebox it. Because it may go higher. It's going to go a little higher. That's what I normally do when it does that. Just kind of follow the bar for a rollover bar. It's going up again, so I bring the box like that. Goes up again. There we go, we got in. See if it worked. And there you got a trade. That's a classic mid-band trade right there. Okay, now look at your lightning and you'll see also where it started rolling over. See your high, your low, same high, higher low, higher high. So this is an identified swing. Looking to the left, trade to right, high, low, higher high. It breaks this, you're pretty much breaking down. Everybody see that? For sure when it breaks this, it is. See this swing? So when it broke through here, you're definitely heading down. And also you can see it stair stepping. This is the left side, this is the right side. So here you have a high, low, lower high, lower low. That's when it started breaking down. It didn't take out mid-band and you headed down. Now could that have stopped us out? Yes. Okay. But that's a typical mid-band trade right there. Let's see, just one sec. Let me see if I'm missing any questions because we're running a little bit late. Where are you placing the bottom of the box? Well, Stephen, what I like to do personally, and it's up to the individual, because you can be aggressive and sometimes it can hurt you, and you can be aggressive and sometimes you get in, at very, very good spots. But let's go over that real quick. And we're not going to get the minimum criteria today. I apologize for that, but we will get it later on. But let's go over this as it was happening and what I like to do. Okay, what I like to do personally, all right, first off, you're looking for the mid-band trade, right? So as this was actually going up here, first off, your yellow bar starts flashing, right? Okay, you're getting your mid-band type trade. So basically at the time, you could start boxing it in with your region. Let's see if I can get the region's not being the right spot, obviously, so I'll draw a box instead. Just pretend this is a region instead. All right, so you got a little bit of support right there. So basically draw your box where it has to at least close below. And see it went up, so I usually move my box. And then I'm usually in when it actually goes through mid-band, if it goes through mid-band to begin with. But if you're a little bit more conservative, just simply follow your box up with the bar and see where you got an up bar, a down bar, it's taking out that box. And you're in the trade. And that one you might have gotten taken out. Okay? Because that was a little bit more, see where And they'll do this to you, believe me. You know, for instance, if you drew your line right here, you notice that they did not close above it by like 2 or 3 ticks, because that's what we usually give it wiggle room, and you still got a great trade. But if you use the rule of thumb of getting in, and if it goes back in the box, you're out. Okay? Then you probably gave up a little bit, but you got a better entry to begin with, you know, by waiting, and then you box it in again. Box it in again, and like I say, you can be as aggressive as you want, and then it pretty much nailed it, got it in. Okay, let's see, how do I find this webinar and replay? I missed most of this, Bo. It'll be on the site. It may be a little bit later this afternoon if you're on trial. If you're a member, it'll be up before I leave with my son. I'm going to be meeting him for lunch, so I got to get going here pretty soon. Okay, so this really just went over mid-band mostly, and phantom type trades. And if anybody has any questions at all on phantom trades, be sure and watch that 19-minute video, because it will absolutely show you where to get in those trades like that. Okay. Now, if you want to get into a mid-band trade, you know, and put your stop above like line 5, you know, then just try it with like one contract or something for a while, because there's no question about it. When they're stair stepping, you know, they're liable to stair step, and, you know, if you're more aggressive, you're liable to get in right at mid-band and they'll take it out, you know. But that's probably not where I would have taken out, because I would have drawn a line over here on the left anyway. See the little thrust, retrace thrust? That's a little swing, so that's where you should have hit your head, and they did. Okay, so I usually look to the left to trade the right and keep a swing. Okay, all right, so I think I got everything pretty much set. I hope I did. Anybody have any final questions before we wrap? Again, we didn't go over the minimum criteria trade. I will go over that on Monday night in detail. And if you want, we'll go a little bit deeper into the phantom. But I wanted to make this webinar basically about watching for the trend changes. We are not thrust traders. We're not breakout traders. Okay? Because you've got to get the trend change. You know, even if it's the red background, you know, you could still have this color mid-band, you know, and this to me is still considered, you know, a mid-band type trade. And I would probably take this even, you know, if I saw it doing something like this and rolls over, you know, draw your trend lines even on your charts, you know, like right here. Let's say you saw this and you said, no, I'm not real sure of this yet. And then they didn't take out the low and they come up, you know, draw your trend line underneath them and take them. You know, because trend lines work. Back to the left with the yellow, would you take that mid-band? Well, yeah, you could, Mindy. But keep in mind that that's still a long trend, but it's a short background. We didn't used to have this mid-band, by the way. And we would have definitely taken this short with this red background. You know, this red background is an algorithm that's really good to begin with, that, you know, pretty much says when those trends are changing. Now, the true trend changed right here, but it dropped like a stone then. So if you did miss this trade, you missed a pretty good trade. You know, I mean, could you have still taken it at a different time? Well, there was another trend right there, and there was that yellow bar that we talked about. So yeah, you definitely could. Okay, I'd stick around, everyone, but I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. This is, by the way, another mid-band trade right here. Will it work? Let's find out. I'll just leave my stop there because I'll just trust the mid-band for a moment. Well, that was close. There you go, another mid-band trade that worked. Maybe. Didn't take out those lows, stopped us out. Now, of course, we would have taken profit, obviously. I just wanted to show you that you can take these mid-band trades. Now, did we leave profit on the table because I didn't move everything? Yeah, but you know, it's just so I could show it. But clearly that mid-band trade worked, and if you would have diagnosed it properly, when they get these little boxes and you get these nice little trades, they're pretty good. All right, thanks, everybody. Have a very good day, and we'll see you on Monday. Next week is a little bit shorter week. We're going to be closed, obviously, on the 4th of July. All right. And if I missed anybody, just give me a call later. I'll be home about 4 o'clock Central, and I'll be happy to talk. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.